This session will look at something very important, that is scaling disability innovation, pathways to global impact, and India's growing role in global disability innovation ecosystem. As you know, India is emerging as one of world's most vibrant hubs for disability innovation, with over 70 million persons with disabilities and a thriving ecosystem of social entrepreneurs. The country has become a laboratory for affordable, scalable, and community rooted solutions. In recent years, assistive technology startups in India have grown by more than 50%. I'm one of them. One of those startups, okay, with increasing investment, both domestic and global partners. This session will chart the pathways for Indian innovations to expand beyond its populous domestic market. In effect, the panelists will discuss scaling models, impact investment, and cross border collaborations that can help these solutions thrive internationally while retaining their deep community focus. May I invite Robin? Robin, my co host, will now be the moderator for this panel. Robin is the Director of International Affairs for those of you who were not present yesterday at the Zero Project. He spearheads international strategy, builds public sector coalitions, and anchors initiatives like Zero Project Ambassadors Circle, ensuring disability inclusion has a place in the global diplomatic collective. With academic roots in cybersecurity law, American studies, and international affairs, Robin, you bring too many things to the panel today. We also have Gautam Devlekar from Unexcluded. Um, he embodies what it means to reinvent oneself with purpose. With decades of experience scaling businesses across Asia, Gautam now leads Unexcluded, a social enterprise building dignified livelihoods for persons with disabilities. He brings the discipline of a corporate operator. Gautam, I'm also working on the same premise. Corporate background, the agility of a startup mentor, and a deep commitment to empowering underserved communities. We also have Carola Rubia. She is from Foundation Descubre, joining us from Chile, and she has shaped disability inclusion across the Spanish speaking world. Carola brings over 20 years of economic and social innovation experience, including leadership roles across the private sector and NGOs. Act as a Zero Project ambassador since 2019 and a key advisor to Chile's Ministry of Social Development, she has driven regional disability policy, sustainability, and rights based reform. We also have Rob Van der Ven of Happy Bots. We met him. Rob, please come to the stage. Um, so we just learned about his Felix, and we had a very interesting conversation with him. I think he's very good at also taking interviews. Maybe did you have any journalism roots? I don't know, but I was learning from you. Then the last one is, of course, a very own Den, who brings a blend of advocacy, media research, and grassroots innovation. Siomdev Mukherjee from Enable India has championed assistive solutions, led project discovery to nurture local innovators, and represented India at Zero Project Vienna. He's a communicator, researcher, and award winning actor. I didn't know about this. And a powerful voice for inclusive systems. So, Robin, the stage is yours. Please.
Thank you, Sangeeta. I think we're going to play a bit of furniture Tetris and make sure that Dan gets some nice flowers to look at as well. And his name, of course, which even more important than the flowers. How's everyone feeling? Awake? Yeah. Wonderful. Carola tells me the ice cream was great, so compliments to the ice cream chef, wherever he or she may be. Sangeeta already did a very good job in outlining what we'll be doing today in a session that we'll try to keep on time as best as possible. As a moderator, I will make sure. This is my friendliest of warnings, 5 minutes for contributions. I can also be unfriendly. It's a shocker, but I can. Wonderful. I'll hold something into the air because it relates very well to what we'll be discussing today with scaling disability innovation, pathways to global inclusion. And that specifically is our scaling innovation strategies that work publication. I don't hold it in the hair just because we published it and it's great, but it's a really interesting piece of publication that I would like to encourage you to approach us. So Anya, Martin, or myself in the room and get yourself a copy if you're interested. Because what we did here was not that easy. We essentially looked at a decade of zero project research, which means over 1,200 awarded solutions from 120 countries, and asked the very difficult question, okay, of these 1,200, who really stood out when it comes to scaling? They're all good, but some are super good because they were able to understand certain parts of the equation of the formula which enable them to scale their innovations. So we took 1,200 and picked out 24 case studies. So it's quite a thin and slim publication by design, and we wanted it to be that way because this is really a synthesis of what has worked well. And I think without further ado, what I would like to do is again encourage you to get the publication, but also tell you how our speakers will actually delve into what this publication entails. So you'll be hearing first from Rob, who you already know is not only the founder of HappyBots, but also Chief Happiness Officer, which has to be the best job title out there. And Rob will be talking about a bit of how he's been able to scale Felix and HappyBots to a variety of markets. We'll then be hearing from our Bollywood actor and disability inclusion innovator, Den, or formerly, as you might know him as Sayandeb Mukherjee from Enable India. And he'll be talking about something that is called the Technology Forum, which is a zero project format that we've brought to India. And he'll be sharing his impressions and experiences, what has worked, what perhaps has not worked so well, and how we can move forward with this format of a technology forum. So you'll hear that from Den. And then we'll move over to Gotham, who, similar looking over his shoulder to Den, thought, hey, technology forum, that sounds like an interesting format. Let's bring that to Singapore as well. So he'll give you his impressions on that. And last but certainly not least, we'll be hearing from Carola Rubia, the executive director of Fundación Descúbreme. Why last? Because she will be able to tie together, perhaps better than any other speaker, what Zero Project and Scaling Solutions is, because she and Fundación Descúbreme is essentially the genesis of Scaling Solutions, partner from since day one, and can, I think, in the best, most comprehensive manner, share her experiences, how we have continuously evolved the program, learned, because it's all not peaches and cream. Things have gone wrong, and we've learned from that and have improved the program. And Carola will be giving us, I think, a comprehensive picture with that. So that's just me giving you a little teasers of what's coming up. And this is where I stop and ask Rob to take it away. As you wish, Rob, wherever you're most comfortable.
Let me see if this is working. All right. Thank you for having me here. I like it very much to be in India. It's such a great energy I sense here, and I like it very much. So I'm happy to share with you how our innovation is growing and be coming to India, what happens, what strategy we did use. And I can tell you a little secret on beforehand. We didn't use a strategy. So I can tell something. But first, I do a little wrap up for Felix. You know him already, you met him already, this little guy. And a lot of people ask me, how does he work exactly? And I don't tell it exactly, but a little bit. Felix will help people that cannot communicate about their feelings. So these people, like children or adults with autism, neurodiversity, mental disabilities, or psychological problems, cannot talk about their emotions. If you ask, how are you doing? How do you feel? They hide away, and they hide away a lot. They don't connect. And in the end of the day, or something when something happens, they explode. And they're not happy, and it's difficult to handle these emotions and to help them with these emotions. And this guy is a nice guy. He has no mouth, he doesn't speak, he doesn't ask difficult questions, he doesn't judge. So when Felix is introduced into the system, a person with the problem of communicating about their feelings can communicate by colors. And he is, a color means an emotion, and it can be personalized. So if you have an emotion, you push on his head and he winks, and the wink means to a user, we get an understanding, we get a connection, and it feels comfortable. But it also means that it is on an online platform, and there the data is collected in an emotional calendar. And during weeks, months, maybe half a year, you can see what is going on with this person, and you can talk about it and help him. So every Thursday you are tired, less energy, you are exploding a lot. During the week, it's getting better. If we change something, it gets better, but gets worse. So you learn how to handle, and the person learns how to handle his emotions. So he's better connected, is more included, and gets better relationships. So that's the issue. And Felix is a guy that is capable of going abroad barriers because he doesn't speak languages. And emotions are universal and colors are universal. So that's how it works. But we are based, a little company in a little country, the Netherlands. And Felix, we thought we might do something with technology and people who are not able to connect. And we succeeded, we started with a few Felixes with duct tape and everything rumbles and crumbles, but it worked. And the first one was interesting, we sold it already. So I said to my co-founder, Lola, this is serious, we have to do something serious now. And we built a lot of Felixes, 30 prototypes, and then we grew from 30 to 100 to 500 now. But that's in the Netherlands. And then an occasion happened. We were an award in Vienna, the Zero Project, and then we got international exposure. And we thought, well, we go international. We go look for partners that can help us, because over all the world there are people with these problems, and we can help them. But we are a small company. We are only 2 people. We hire engineers, we hire everything. And we have one ambition. We don't have a strategy, but we have one ambition. We stay small. We don't grow. We're not profit-based, we are happiness-based. So I'm the Chief Happiness Officer. You're the first one that shows to me that he understands the CHO, the first one. But the visa, they didn't ask, but I got the visa. So where was I? So we want to grow in impact, not in numbers. That's not the issue, in impact. And we met partners. We met partners like Fundación Descúbreme. And we tried a model in Chile. We do there a train-the-trainer program that's specially fit for the situation in Chile. We met some other partners, and we, as you noticed when you were this morning here, we met Youth for Jobs. And they're also a partner in India. But we have to fit it culturally into India. So we are not looking for great numbers, we're looking for partners to help us to the cultural bridge we meet. They can locally solve this. And we provide the knowledge, we provide the Felix, and together we can build solutions for everyone. So I've forgotten the PowerPoint. It's running far away after this, but that's not a problem. I'm in the end. If you know and if you meet users that can use Felix, we're open to meet, to shake hands, and to find a way, find a business model to make it work locally. So happy to meet you if you want to.
Thank
Within
you,
5
Rob.
minutes?
Almost.
Okay.
Well, almost.
Almost.
But I'm winking at you, so we have a consensus.
okay.
We have a consensus, Rob. Very well. You talked about cultural fit, cultural adaptations, and how to bring it to the Indian market, and I think that's a wonderful segue to our next speaker, Den. We already teased a bit what you'll be talking about, so please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can I have the slides, please? So let me introduce myself first. Samdev Mukherjee, people know me as Den, and I'm Zero Project Ambassador. Yeah, slide is ready now, so I don't have to talk anymore. I can go to the structure and start talking. So, yes, scaling disability innovation and to make global impact is something very important for the disability sector overall, because unless we make sure at this point in time that all the innovations that we are working towards or are working for are scalable, many of the people in the global south and other places of the world, even in the developed world, would get deprived, because scaling means interchanging. Interchanging brings more resources. More resources brings more research. More research brings more empowerment. More empowerment brings more products. And that's why it's a whole circle that we need to think of when we are talking about scaling. Next slide, please. So, Zero Project Bangalore Tech Forum. This particular program is touching the 3rd year as Zero Project Conference in Delhi. Youth for Job is doing a wonderful thing by making sure that the whole ecosystem comes through and talk about the global disability in India. And what we, Enable India, is doing is making sure that assistive solutions are being discussed in a specialized way, in a specialized form, so that the people with disabilities in their life cycle can obtain the solutions which would empower them to make sure that they lead a life of dignity and empowerment. So last 2 years, the success of Zero Project Tech Forum, I will tell that from the first year, 10 startups were there. Out of the 10 startups, 2 startups got invited to the Zero Project conference. Second year, out of 10 startups that were there, 3 startups got invited to Zero Project program in Vienna. And this year, I have gotten the news that from the first year and second year together, at least 4 startups have got Zero Project award. And that is the success of the tech forum that happens in Bangalore. Anyway, the connections are important. The collaborations are important. Our startups may not have the resources to meet international delegates, because when startup starts in India, their revenue is really low. They are unable to travel across the world. So bringing the world ecosystem to Bangalore and making the tech forum more successful is a very important aspect that we have embarked with the journey with Zero Project, and that's the success factor that is happening with the tech forum. This year, we not only have 9 Indian startups which are going to pitch, We also have 3 international global startups who are going to come. The amalgamation of India and international global will make sure that best practices are exchanged to make the disability ecosystem more global. One point that I would like to tell about is about the scaling. And scaling means, can I have the next slide, please? Scaling means that making a local to global journey. And this local to global journey has been done by a project in Enable India. And the best practices, when I mentor startups, I found their best practices from project discovery to discovery awards to be spoken to the startups that I mentor and talk about how a local program can go global and identify 55 country partners around the world to work on grassroots small bit of innovation which can be shared. And Zero Project is quite kind, and Michael and Martin have taken up this cause also to give prizes to Zero Project Discovery Awards award winners in Vienna, where people, innovators from the grassroots solutions travel and receive that award. So this scaling is nothing but an amalgamation of science, finding right psychology, finding right socio-cultural matching, finding correct resource mobilization opportunities. In India, directly it cannot be scaled because we are stuck by the laws. But laws are important. But can we replicate? Can we co-create? And this is the approach that we have taken to make sure that India makes to the globe and move towards a new horizon where India can become a leader of assistive solutions for the nations which have the aspiration to grow, but we can make more opportunities because of our heritage and experience for last 5,000 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. As you put it, finding the right psychology and mindset, and this is from a gentleman who has literally the United Nations on his watch. You know, he thinks and reads time globally. So you've heard it from the right person. And connecting that now to Singapore, our next speaker, Gotham. And Gotham, I have to tell you a little secret. Whenever we hear or speak of your name at our office, we always think of Batman. We're big Batman fans. So whenever we hear Gotham, it's just, I see and picture the skyline. But there's a bit more to you than just Batman. Do tell us.
Yeah. Thank you. First things first, I actually second Carola's opinion on the ice cream, and I think I had a bit more while I was sitting there. I figured I was bloating, so which is why I'm standing, so I get the better pictures, right? So yeah, my name is Gautam Devlekar. I was born Indian. I'm now a Singaporean. I've been in the corporate world for about close to 3 decades before giving it up in 2020 and started advising startups and mentors. So Unexcluded was founded sometime in 2024. In fact, my first introduction to this community was at the Enable India Conference Zero Project Technology Forum last year in September. That kind of gave me a sense of what this sector possibly needed in terms of leveraging my corporate network, right? And that's the bridge I was trying to cap. What I felt this sector needed was more in terms of collaboration. There are multiple NGOs, there are multiple social organizations that are serving the cause. So we decided not to touch the end beneficiary directly, rather work with the people who are already doing some great job, good programs, great programs, but unfortunately, it's in a siloed manner. So there was no cross-border learning. There is a lack of cross-border learning. There is a lack of awareness, visibility of some great programs that are going on in this sector. So our objective when we created Unexcluded was to build a community model, a platform where anybody who's serving the community would be part of it, along with the end beneficiary, who would then have access to products and services that they can utilize. Right. So that's what we are building, and it's a work in progress, and it will go on for some time. Now, keeping my couple of minutes to the context of the panel, we did a technology forum in September this year in partnership with Zero Project. Obviously, it was very much a replica of what Zero Project does at Vienna every year. Our reach in Singapore was across Southeast Asia. So we had about 15 startup founders who came down, two from Indonesia, one from Philippines. We had Key to Enable, Shilpi present as well. We had one from Denmark. We had one from UK. So that brought, again, like Den rightly said, it brought together a community of startup founders who were working on similar problems, but approaching it in two or three different ways. In fact, we had 3 startup founders who were working on indoor navigation for the visually impaired. We had 2 that were looking at solutions for deaf, right? And now suddenly you put all of them together in the room, and they start talking, and they start looking at how each one is approaching the problem, and then they start collaborating. So which is what we have kind of created now, right? Now, in terms of, so the forum was actually attended by about 100 of my corporate network, investors, corporate leaders, plus of course the Zero Project delegation, which was by far the largest, Anya, 45 people at Singapore. So, so that was the gist of that event, and what followed as an impact to how we did this. Now, I'm also part of an organization called TIE, which is a organization that fosters entrepreneurship. Now, they are a large bunch of investors, fund managers, corporate leaders who would invest in commercial startups, but I'm now pushing them to invest in impact startups. 25 Years More is another organization, is a community of 60 plus adults who are in their who are planning their next 25 years, and part of it is to do impact investment. So those are 2 places where we source investments from for these startups. Microsoft and HP, we have got into a partnership where relevant startups would be listed on their global marketplace, which gives a GTM at scale, all right, a go-to-market opportunity at scale for some of the relevant startups. Again, we've created a WhatsApp group with all these founders, which we will continue to monitor, have regular interactions, and try and take them to where we feel that they would have impact at scale. Right? If there is anybody in this room who thinks Southeast Asia is a market, or who would like some advice in terms of how to build or scale a startup, please reach out to me. I'm always there. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam, for more or less the latest update of Zero Project copy-paste in the best possible way. And as I teased before, I would like to go back very much to the beginning and have Carola really tell us a bit of the genesis story of scaling solutions, how does Cooperman got involved with the Zero Project. And without further ado, Carola, the stage is yours.
Great. So I just follow. Super. Hello, everyone. Well, yeah, my job today is to summarize what will happen with the Zero Project scaling solution. In fact, for us it's an honor to be here and to share this wonderful experience that we have been not only investing, but also to put a lot of hours of thinking and rethinking and learning, because it was an ongoing process, the one that we did. The funny story is that Zero Project Scaling Solutions started with another name, Impact Transfer. And after a couple of years, because we started since 1999 as the first partners of Zero Project, we understood that what we were thinking at the beginning, that Zero Project Scaling Solution was the idea is to bring knowledge to those organizations that were received as an awardee in Zero Project conference. We needed to give more. We received the message of Martin saying, I not only want knowledge, I want impact, I want replication. So we thought that the structure that we were doing at that time, it was offering the connections of the organizations, all the transfer of knowledge, but the impact was not good enough. Descúbreme, as you might know, we look after the Ibero-American countries, Latin America, Spain, and also Portugal. We wanted to highlight and show to the world what was the innovation in LATAM, in Latin America. However, because obviously, as I have found many similarities here in India, in Latin America, we have very strong level of poverty and also a lack of resources. And also, we knew that all over the world, we have wonderful initiatives and initiatives that we were proven that they were good and they were working. Why don't we bring them to Latin America? So that was more or less what we tried to do. What happened? We changed the concept. Instead of going theoretical, we said, let's go practical. So in 2021, we were running a program with the IDB Lab, International Development Bank in the US, called Pacto. And why don't we ask Pacto and IDB to finance, in conjunction with Descúbreme, 3 wonderful initiatives to be replicated as a pilot in Chile? So we decided to invest 120,000 euros at that time. And we needed to launch a program, so we called the ICT Innovation for Inclusion Program to search for this wonderful initiative. Luckily, we found wonderful partners in this first approach. One was Enable India with a great solution called Blimey that it was implemented in Fundación Luz in Santiago of Chile. Then we identify assisted technology 3D printing program from Fundación ONCE, the largest blind organization in Spain. And finally, Egalité, who was able to bring to the Chilean government an online recruitment program. What I can say, it was not easy, but because through the whole process we have huge challenges, and the infrastructure was different, the community was different, local policies were different, everything was different. So we thought that we needed to sit down and learn what was going through, and we decided to go for a second phase, and then we found a wonderful experience who was HappyBots, and we are in the developing and, as Rob said, the implementation of our friend Felix. We are expecting very good results because we have been doing with all the learning and experience that we had before, so that was very important. And what were the key learnings of the whole process? Scaling required an online exchange, inclusive leadership, technical flexibility, but we usually assume wrong assumptions. because the social culture and the legal context are different in each country. But that's a challenge, it's not a problem. Because if you have the right technician, you can do it as we did. We faced the thing with Enable India because India and Chile are totally different but very close in so many things. And because we have this professional helping to each other, we were able to take the challenge. And as a conclusion, I want to leave two conclusions for you. One, this is an ongoing process for feedback, adjustment, and shared commitment, as Robin says. The ultimate goal is not just to expand reach, but to embed this innovation with local ecosystems, ensuring lasting impact and ownership. Our experience with Blimey, Enable India, and now with upcoming work with Happybox Felix, prove that the global impact starts with local relevance. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carola, and also thank you to all the speakers for your timely discipline, which allows us to go in a bit of conversation. As the moderator, of course, will take the liberty to ask the first question, and I would actually like to pick up on the second to last slide you had, Carola, and you had deep cultural intelligence on the slide. And it reminds me of a quote, and some of you might know Peter Drucker, who said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And I would like to ask all panelists of your experience on how you have had to culturally adapt in your journey, and if you could give us actually relevant examples, real life examples of where your approach has not worked because you've interacted with someone from a different country, region, background, etc., and how you were able to pivot and adjust accordingly. So the question is open for any speaker who would like to jump in.
Yeah.
Den, please.
Yeah. So failure is a very important thing. Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Failure is a very important thing because failures makes us grounded, go back to the drawing board, sketch, and start from the scratch. There had been certain things which we wanted to do, but we could not. That is a program that we had to close because we thought that we can make it successful. But culturally in India, the feedbacks that we got was not appropriate, that we should get the program going. The program was very close to my heart, but I had to take a very difficult call that this is not working out. Also, that fund could be diverted to a grassroots work that would be more impactful, and we had to divert fund from a very global contextual program to a grassroots program because countries like India, Chile, or any global south primarily needs to focus on the grassroots level first, and then only we can understand the things, and then only we can go global. So closing down a program which is very close to the heart, emotionally connected, is a very, very difficult thing to do. And the failure happened because of our not being able to understand the support system that needs to be built up for the work.
I'm gonna dig in. You didn't mention the name of the program. Let's take
Yes.
it out of the shadow then.
It's a scaling solutions program. We had to pull out of it, and the program was very close to my heart. And the scaling solution program, I thought that it would bring more opportunity and impact, but our financials were running into certain things, problematic things, And we had a choice of diverting the fund to a grassroots program or continuing with the scaling solutions program. And we had to take a very difficult call to pull it out, because primarily we didn't want to pull out, but it was a choice between two things between a bread and butter, things between a gold and diamond. So bread and butter always stands better than gold and diamond.
Exactly. Life cannot always be honey and fig ice cream. So, Gotham, please.
I think I don't have any anecdotes on the on culture eating strategy for breakfast here, but what I can share is how an IT giant, e-commerce giant, implements this to the T. I used to work with AWS, and if you're not aware, the hiring process there is a lengthy 6-7 interviews before you actually get the offer letter, and you go through functional fit, you go through technical skills, whatever else that you need. But there is one interview which is done by a person called the bar raiser. Now, the bar raiser's job is very clear. He or she would interview you and make sure that you as a person, if you get into AWS, raise the bar of the employees by at least 50%. And this person had a veto power. So if that person said no, regardless of what your qualifications were, regardless of what your experience was, or what your skills were, you would not get into AWS. And that's how AWS was a company, is a company of type alpha personalities, people who are always out there trying to innovate the next best thing, right? And as a group of employees that have been selected in that manner, you can understand the impact that the collective force of that skill set would generate. And that's why Amazon is possibly the best company here today.
Thank you for that, Rob. Do you want to, from the AWS space, bring it down to earth of startups like yours?
From the air to the ground. Yeah, that's. It was on. Okay, that's one of the problems. No, well, of course, there are cultural differences, and you have to bridge them. And we do it primarily by local partners. That helps a very, very lot. But sometimes we are surprised when we send Felix to Kenya, to Loho Learning. They try to implement it in a school, and Felix is based on a one-to-one connection. But the children there are used to share everything. So also Felix. So we got photos from Felix in the classroom, and there were 5 hands on it, and they were all smiling, and they were all turning around, and it didn't work like that. So we have to find something to work it in that context. And that's really important, because everything you are surprised by cultural differences and what it does. So just a simple product as Felix is being used in different ways.
Carola, anything you would like to elaborate? And no pressure, you have the closing words.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, listen to my friends and colleagues here on the podium. Yeah, Zero Project Scaling Solution has been going through many phases, but I want to highlight that the impact, knowing all the organizations that have been going through, there are more than 70 already, and what they have been doing today, or where they are, where they were when they started, and where are they now. I have so many examples in my mind that made me proud that we went through that, because it was the best way for helping others to show to the world what they were doing, giving them the right tools to do it, and also giving them the know-how to do a better management of the initiatives, and also to connect to others, because many times we are very good at what we're doing in the different cities where we're working, but not necessarily we are able to connect or to express what we are good at. And this Zero Project Scaling Solution program, the main focus was that, but also the impact. We need to force the replication, and that's what we have been trying to do all this, I don't know, 7 years or 8 years so far, and we will continue doing, because we have seen what Blimey, Happy Boats, or in Egalite or any other initiatives has been done in another part of the world. And everyone is invited to be part of to the whole process that we will have a Zero Project Scaling Solution. Obviously, every year we analyze what is the best way to continue doing it, and we will do it all over again in in March. But there is so many initiatives that we want to replicate, and hopefully, we were talking with Martin, there's 1,200 initiative that can be replicated in somewhere. Well, let's start for India. If you know, or if anyone is interested, you can search and you can be in contact of these 1,200 initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Carola. On the clock. And yes, please. And you know, I was watching the room as all of you were speaking, and there was a lot of attention. So I'm going to actually open up for one question, because I think there is interest in the audience to hear from the speakers while we have their attention. And I see Sangeeta has her hand raised.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question.
Fantastic, please.
So my question to the panel is, because I am a startup myself, I'm incubated currently at Indian Institute of IIM Management, Bangalore, and it's an incubator for women startups. So we do have a few startups, those who are working in the disability space. So my question to the panel is that when we talk about scaling up, how do you scale in an environment which is so nascent, fragmented? So can you give some insights on that?
Sorry, I didn't get the part where you said the system is so fragmented. Okay. See, any startup in the incubation stage would definitely need, specifically in the impact sector, would need a commercialization strategy. Unless you have a commercialization potential to scale, you would not have too much of interest. There are so many prototypes out there, right? There are so many MVPs that are being built in incubators and accelerators, but a lot of them are solving a problem for a very small market. It doesn't have the ability to scale. Once we identify that, then you have a lot of foundations, a lot of impact investor organizations. There are multiple ways to go for it. And you need to, again, I was telling somebody else as well, try not to sell the product individually to retailers. Find distribution channels, find B2B partners who can then who you can leverage and distribute directly. They're already selling stuff, so they already have the market. They just need to introduce your product in there, and you're already in the eyes of millions of their customers.
Yeah. May I add? Yeah. So in addition to that, the journey as a startup mentor that I have, so the journey from an innovator to an entrepreneur is a very difficult journey to have. So most of the people who are launching the startup have an innovator mindset. Having that innovator mindset and taking that to adding that with entrepreneurial mindset is a very important thing, where you be an innovator, bring the business thinking in the process of strategic planning. And that is a very important thing to have, the journey from being an innovator to become an entrepreneur.
Wonderful closing words. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention. And we stayed in time and we shared some wisdom. Wonderful.
Thank you to the panelists. This has been one of the most powerful sessions, and it's been personally very, very educative for me.